distinguished guests, friends, and family members of Charlie Company, 2nd Battalion, 54th Infantry Regiment, and Delta Company, 1st Battalion, 19th Infantry Regiment, on behalf of Major General Colin Tooley and Command Sergeant Major Brian Haight of the United States Army Maneuver Center of Excellence, Brigadier General Philip Kinry, and Command Sergeant Major Jason Dean of the United States Army Infantry School, and Colonel White and Command Sergeant Major Roney of the 198th Infantry Brigade, we welcome you to today's graduation ceremony. Thank you for taking the time to share this great day with us. Before we start today's ceremony, would the veterans in the audience please stand? Ladies and gentlemen, please join us in a round of applause for these veterans who have kept our country free in times of peace and conflict. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, honored veterans, and members of the proud infantry family, today we stand together to honor a remarkable milestone, 250 years of courage, sacrifice, and unwavering dedication by the United States Army Infantry. As we gather to celebrate this extraordinary anniversary, we reflect on the heritage of a force that has not only shaped the history of our nation, but has also preserved its freedom one battlefield at a time. From its inception on June 14, 1775, the infantry has stood as the backbone of our army. Whether storming the beaches of Normandy, trudging through the frozen mountains of Korea, or braving the deserts of the Middle East, infantry soldiers have borne the brunt of battle with valor and resilience. They have secured the victories that carved our republic, reunited a divided union, and defended democracy across the globe. The story of the infantry is one of quiet heroism. Infantry soldiers have faced overwhelming odds with an indomitable spirit, leaving an enduring legacy of selflessness and courage. They fought on the hallowed grounds of Yorktown, Gettysburg, and Antietam. They marched through the trenches of World War I, stood firm in the jungles of Vietnam, and operated in the urban combat zones of Iraq and Afghanistan. Each step forward has been a step closer to protecting our shared ideals of liberty and justice. Today, as we celebrate this legacy, we also honor the adaptability of the infantry. From musket to M4, from conventional battles to asymmetric warfare, the infantry has evolved to meet the demands of ever-changing conflicts. These warriors are not just soldiers, they are leaders, diplomats, and defenders of hope in some of the world's darkest moments. To the next generation of infantry soldiers, we look to you to carry forward this proud legacy. You embody the Army's core values: loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage. The challenges of the 21st century demand not only physical strength, but also the intellect and adaptability to navigate cyber threats, complex geopolitics, and modern battlefields. This day is a reminder of what it means to be infantry, to close with and destroy the enemy, to take and hold ground, and to do so with determination and honor. It is also a day to remember those who gave the ultimate sacrifice, heroes whose names are etched into the very fabric of our nation's history. One of those leaders was 2nd Lieutenant Daniel K. Inouye, later Senator Inouye from Hawaii. On 12 September 2014, soil was spread on this parade field from San Terenzo, Italy, and the parade field was officially named Inouye Field in his honor. In 1997, he was awarded the Medal of Honor for his heroic actions on 21 April 1945 at San Terenzo as a platoon leader in the 442nd Regimental Combat Team. And despite being critically wounded, 2nd Lieutenant Inouye, by his gallant, aggressive tactics and his indomitable leadership, led his platoon to advance through fierce resistance and capture the heavily defended and fortified ridge known as Col Musatello, outside the town of San Terenzo, Italy. The purpose of today's ceremony is to recognize the commitment of the soldiers in formation today who have chosen to serve their country as infantry soldiers. This review is the last official formation of the training cycle. Not everyone successfully completes this difficult period of training, but those in formation today represent disciplined, motivated, and physically fit soldiers who exemplify the Army's 7 core values: loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage. These soldiers are imbued with the warrior ethos and display the tenets of putting the mission first, never accepting defeat, never quitting, and never leaving behind a fallen comrade. This is an important day, and they can take great pride in their accomplishments. This ceremony marks the culmination of months of long and arduous training, the results of which are these superb infantry soldiers, prepared to take their places in infantry units around the world. Like you, we are proud of their accomplishments. Ladies and gentlemen, during the next few moments, there will be loud noises and smoke from the use of pyrotechnics. On the far side of the parade field, the World War II Company Street serves as a constant reminder of the time-honored traditions and values of America's greatest generation, those infantry soldiers who walked before us. In just a few minutes, out from the past will emerge our country's next generation, today's infantry warrior. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Infantry Rifle Squad, the foundation of the Army's decisive force and the embodiment of the warrior's ethos. For 250 years, infantry soldiers have had the most challenging job of any member of the armed forces. They carried the fight to the enemy around the world. They are the standard bearer for all the armies of the world, leading by example in the fight to defend freedom against ruthless terror. With the increased firepower and lethality of today's weapons, every infantry soldier must be trained to standard in over 200 tasks to defeat our enemies on the battlefield. The infantry soldier graduating today are accomplished marksmen, able to engage the enemy day and night. They understand how to shoot, move, and communicate as a team. They are adaptable warriors who can fight as a mechanized force from Strykers or Bradleys, from the sky as airborne or air assault, and whose training is the basis for our elite special operations warriors. Most importantly, they are patriots who raised their right hand and swore an oath to God and country to defend the Constitution of the United States against any enemy. Ladies and gentlemen, the Infantry Rifle Squad and Mortar Section. Providing forward reconnaissance and security for the Infantry Rifle Squad and Mortar Section is the RQ-28A SRR, a small unmanned aerial system that serves as an early warning device for soldiers on the modern-day battlefield and future battlefield. The soldiers placing the mortars in action are indirect fire infantry soldiers who receive 4 weeks of mortar-specific training. As the only internal indirect fire support for the rifle company, these mortar soldiers place the 60mm mortar system into action to provide indirect fire support to the infantry squads, platoons, and companies, destroying the enemy, suppressing fires, screening the rifle units, and enabling their fire and maneuver. The M224A1 60mm mortar system is a muzzle-loaded, smooth-bore, high-angle fire weapon that can be fired in the conventional or handheld mode to provide timely and accurate indirect fire with devastating results. The Mortar Section and Infantry Rifle Squad are wearing the equipment they train with and will carry into combat. Each squad has a gunner who carries the 60mm lightweight cannon, M8 baseplate, and the M67 sight unit. The mortar's maximum rate of fire is 30 rounds for the first minute and 20 rounds per each additional minute indefinitely. The maximum effective range is 3,490 meters. The 60mm mortar system weighs 38 pounds in conventional mode and 20 pounds in handheld mode. Each squad has an assistant gunner who carries the M170A1 bipod and the M17 pistol as a primary weapon. The M224A1 mortar fires 6 different types of ammunition: training, high explosive, white phosphorus, illumination, infrared illumination, and the mortar anti-personnel, anti-material round. The squad is led by a staff sergeant. They are armed with an M7 carbine. The M7 rifle is the latest evolution of service rifle, utilizing improved ambidextrous controls in the 6.8 by 5.1 Fury cartridge that is designed to defeat the latest in adversary body armor. The squad has 2 fire teams. Each fire team is led by a sergeant. They are also armed with an M7 carbine. This carbine is fully modular with an integrated receiver rail system that can mount the M157 fire control optic, an infrared laser designator used to engage targets at night. Each fire team has 1 automatic rifleman. They are armed with an M250 squad automatic weapon. This system replaces legacy systems, providing improved firepower with sustained rates of fire of 600 rounds per minute and weighing 6 pounds lighter than the previous weapon system, the M249 squad automatic weapon. Each fire team has 1 grenadier. They are armed with an M7 carbine and an M320 grenade launcher. It fires a variety of 40mm grenades to include high explosive, illumination, colored smoke, and buckshot. The M320 provides an invaluable indirect fire capability to the infantry squad. The remaining soldier in each fire team is the rifleman. They are armed with an M7 carbine and the M136 AT4 anti-tank launcher. The AT4 fires an 84mm shaped charge capable of defeating up to 14 inches of rolled homogeneous steel and breaching bunkers or masonry walls in urban structures. Additionally, each one of these soldiers is wearing the advanced combat helmet with the PVS-14 monocular night vision device. This night vision device allows the soldier to see in low or no light conditions. Coupled with the laser designator on their weapon, they can place effective fire on all targets at night. On their torso, they are wearing the 2nd generation modular scalable vest, MSV, which consists of 4 armored plates capable of stopping small arms fire and fragmentation. Additionally, he is wearing ballistic eye protection, knee and elbow pads, and a water hydration system. Ladies and gentlemen, all members of today's rifle squad are from Delta Company, 1st Battalion, 19th Infantry Regiment. This is the modern day warrior, armed and equipped to fight and win anywhere, anytime, and any type of terrain, against any enemy. These infantry soldiers are trained and ready to defend our country and preserve our way of life. Ladies and gentlemen, please join us in a round of applause for the United States Army Infantry Rifle Squad and Mortar Section. Ladies and gentlemen, now returning to the parade field is the United States Army Maneuver Center of Excellence Band, led by Drum Major Sergeant Adam Mitchell and commanded by Staff Sergeant Jeremy Leach. Ladies and gentlemen, now marching onto the parade field are the infantry soldiers from Charlie Company, 2nd Battalion, 54th Infantry Regiment, and Delta Company, 1st Battalion, 19th Infantry Regiment. The company commander for Charlie Company, 2nd Battalion, 54th Infantry Regiment is Captain Simon Mutai, and the company first sergeant is First Sergeant Jose Alvarez. The company commander for Delta Company, 1st Battalion, 19th Infantry Regiment is Captain Michael Meyer, and the company first sergeant is First Sergeant Justin Pilla. The commander of troops for today's ceremony is Major Timothy W. Lindeman, Executive Officer of the 2nd Battalion, 54th Infantry Regiment. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the invocations and remain standing for the arrival of the official party. 2nd Battalion, 54th Infantry Regiment, Chaplain Jesus Martinez will offer the invocation.
Let us pray. Dear God, we ask for your almighty hand to be upon these graduates as we send them forward. May they strive towards excellence in all they do and lift up those around them. I pray for their families who have cheered for them into the finish line and stood by their side through the many bumps in the road. We especially thank you for the friends they have found among their battles, for the jokes and hardships they endured together. I pray for your continual blessing upon their future. I now bless them as they step out into the world and make it better with you by their side. In your name I pray. Amen.
The official party for today's ceremony consists of the 2nd Battalion, 54th Infantry Regiment Commander, Lieutenant Colonel Larry Kay, and the 2nd Battalion, 54th Infantry Regiment Command Sergeant Major Matthew Peeler.
Sound! Present arms! Sir, the command is forward. Conduct the ceremony.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated.
Sound! Order arms! Persons to be honored and colored. Center! March! Sir, persons to be honored and colors are present.
Take your post to present the command.
Cast the shoe.
Handle foot.
Sound! Present arms! Detachment! Present arms!
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the playing of the national anthem. Gentlemen, if you are not in uniform, please remove your headgear. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated.
Attention! Order up! Down! Order arms and parade ready!
The infantry soldiers graduating today come from many parts of the United States. The flags of the 50 states and 6 territories displayed at the museum symbolize the broad base of our national defense. The companies standing before you have conducted a Turning Blue ceremony on Honor Hill, because blue is the color of the infantry. This ceremony culminated with each graduating soldier receiving the coveted symbols of an infantry soldier. The crossed rifle insignia with the blue bit background discs, and the blue infantry cord. Turning blue signifies the rite of passage of these soldiers to carry on the finest traditions of the infantry. The infantry crossed rifles, blue discs, and blue cord mark these soldiers as qualified to be the finest soldiers in the world, United States Army infantry soldiers. The soldiers most responsible for the training of these infantry soldiers are the drill sergeants, who are carefully selected by the Department of the Army. The drill sergeant campaign hat and badge have been a stoic symbol of professionalism and pride since 1962. At this time, the drill sergeant of the cycle for Charlie Company, 2nd Battalion, 54th Infantry Regiment, Drill Sergeant Frank Wes, will recite the Drill Sergeant Creed.
The drill sergeant's creed! I am a drill sergeant. I will assist each individual in their efforts to become a highly motivated, well-disciplined, physically and mentally fit soldier, capable of defeating any enemy on today's modern battlefield. I will instill pride in all I train, pride itself in the Army and in country. I will insist that each soldier meets and maintains the Army standards of military bearing and courtesy, consistent with the highest traditions of the U.S. Army. I will lead by example, never require a soldier to attempt any task I will not do myself. But first, last, and always, I am an American soldier, sworn to defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, both foreign and domestic. I am a drill sergeant. This will defend.
At this time, the official party will present the awards. The drill sergeant of the cycle and soldier of the cycle will each receive the Army Achievement Medal. Receiving the drill sergeant of the cycle award from Charlie Company, 2nd Battalion, 54th Infantry Regiment, is Drill Sergeant Frank Wes from Manila, Philippines. Receiving the drill sergeant of the cycle award from Delta Company, 1st Battalion, 19th Infantry Regiment, is Senior Drill Sergeant Dan Rowe from Hartford, Connecticut. The soldier of the cycle for Charlie Company, 2nd Battalion, 54th Infantry Regiment, is Specialist Wiseman from McKinney, Texas. The soldier of the cycle for Delta Company, 1st Battalion, 19th Infantry Regiment, is PV2 Jerez from Escondido, California. Ladies and gentlemen, please join us in giving these fine soldiers a round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, the commander of 2nd Battalion, 54th Infantry Regiment, Lieutenant Colonel Larry A. Kay.
Major General Tooley, Command Sergeant Major Haight, Brigadier General Kinry, Command Sergeant Major Dean, Colonel White, Command Sergeant Major Roney, distinguished guests and visitors, friends and families of Charlie Company's 2nd Battalion, 54th Infantry Regiment, and Alpha and Delta Company's 1st Battalion, 19th Infantry Regiment. Welcome to today's graduation ceremony. My name is Lieutenant Colonel Kay, and I am proud to be a United States Army Infantry officer. First, let's give a round of applause to the Maneuver Center Excellence Band, whose performance today honors the achievements of all those on the field before us today. To the veterans and current service members in the audience today who've shared their friends and loved ones with us, thank you for your service and thank you for your support over these last 22 weeks. Service strengthens the character of our nation, and my family and I are deeply appreciative of the honor, the courage, the commitment, and the sacrifices you and your families have pledged on our country's behalf. Before I describe to you the transformation and accomplishments of the infantry soldiers before you, I want to extend my deepest appreciation and respect for the drill sergeants who made this transformation and these accomplishments possible. For the last 22 weeks, the drill sergeants have poured their heart and soul into these infantry soldiers. They spent countless hours, days, and nights away from their families, friends, and loved ones. They dedicated themselves to providing these soldiers a world-class education in soldiering to ensure that no soldier goes untrained into combat. You could liken their relationship to your soldiers' teachers when they were younger, except these teachers spent cold and wet nights with them, taught them discipline, strengthened their character, challenged their fears, encouraged their selflessness, picked them up when they were down and broken, and developed in them the grit required to thrive in the harshest environments. In sum, these drill sergeants spent the last 22 weeks expertly fulfilling their duty to produce the world's greatest infantry soldiers. With that, I would like everyone to give another round of applause to the drill sergeants and their families. "22 weeks ago, your sons and daughters arrived at Fort Benning to begin the greatest journey of their lives. As civilians, nothing was really expected of them. They existed for themselves, and for many, this was not enough. They wanted more. They wanted to be part of something bigger than themselves. They wanted to honor their families. They wanted to be part of a team. They wanted to become part of the greatest fighting force the world has ever known, and above all, they wanted to serve their country. For the last 22 weeks, these soldiers awoke early every morning to conduct physical training meant to harden their bodies in preparation for the rigors of soldiering in combat. Their character and identities were molded by the Army values, the soldier's creed, the infantryman's creed, and the warrior ethos. Their personal courage was tested with obstacle and confidence courses. They were toughened with road marches, combatives, and hand-to-hand combat. They became brilliant at the basics with marksmanship, spending countless hours in the day and at night behind the trigger of every weapon you'll find in infantry units across the Army. They discovered the importance of fire and maneuver as they safely conducted live-fire exercises as part of 2- and 4-man teams. They learned how to treat the wounded and to save lives under enemy fire. They learned fieldcraft, that is, how to establish and secure patrol bases in the middle of nowhere, how to remain hidden from enemy observation by use of camouflage, and how to navigate and move swiftly and silently from one objective to another. Finally, they demonstrated every one of these skills in a culminating event lasting 72 hours, which included a 13-mile foot march, followed by a 1-mile team-building run in full gear, earning their cross rifles and blue cord and the right to refer to themselves as U.S. Army infantry soldiers. These infantry soldiers before you come from every corner of our great nation, from Florida to Guam, from Alaska to Maine. Many of them were citizens and some were not. Among the many benefits of joining the Army is that it is a great pathway to become a citizen of the United States. Citizen soldiers accept personal responsibility and work tirelessly to advance American virtues. Today, I would also like to recognize 12 citizen soldiers who completed their journey to citizenship. Please give our newly minted citizens a round of applause. When these soldiers arrived many weeks ago, they had very little in common, and other than a shared love of country, nothing bonded them together until now. They are infantry soldiers and today join the storied ranks of many before them who served our great country in peace and war for over 250 years. Today they begin writing the next chapter in theirs and the Army's story. To the soldiers of Charlie Company, Alpha Company, and Delta Company, welcome to the infantry. As you depart for your next assignment, reflect on the transformation you underwent here at Fort Benning. Live the Army values and embody the soldier's creed and infantryman's creed. Be safe, trust your training, trust your leaders, and build upon the foundation that you've forged here. Be proud and continue to make us and your families proud. Rock steady, mailed foot, brave and bold, follow me.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Soldier's Creed is the standard for all soldiers to live by. The Soldier's Creed helps soldiers understand that despite their very diverse backgrounds, all soldiers are warriors and members of a team. We invite all soldiers, both past and present, to stand and join us as the Soldier of the Cycle from Charlie Company, 2nd Battalion, 54th Infantry Regiment. Specialist Wiseman leads the Army's newest soldiers in the Soldier's Creed.
The Soldier's Creed!
Sir, the infantry soldiers of Charlie Company, 2nd Battalion, 54th Infantry Regiment, and Delta Company, 1st Battalion, 19th Infantry Regiment, are fully trained and prepared to take their positions in infantry units around the world.
Pass in review.
Pass and review!
Ladies and gentlemen, as the soldiers pass to your front, we invite you to take pictures, but please remain in your seats. When the American flag passes to your front, we ask that you rise and that the gentlemen remove their headgear. Once the American flag has passed your location, you may be seated. Additionally, we ask that you please remain in the stands until the band has completely left the field and the commander of the troops reports the conclusion of the ceremony. Now, Commander of Troops for today's ceremony is Major Timothy W. Lindemann. Now approaching the reviewing stand is the Maneuver Center of Excellence Band, led by Drum Major Sergeant Adam Mitchell and commanded by Staff Sergeant Jeremy Leach. Charlie Company, 2nd Battalion, 54th Infantry Regiment is commanded by Captain Simon Mutai from Brentwood, California. The platoon sergeant for 1st Platoon is Senior Drill Sergeant Michael Pickering from Enterprise, Utah. The platoon sergeant for 2nd Platoon is Senior Drill Sergeant Rudolph McLean from Roanoke, Virginia. The platoon sergeant for 3rd Platoon is Drill Sergeant Ralph Toyuka from Ventura, California. The platoon sergeant for 4th Platoon is Senior Drill Sergeant Heston Andrews from Dallas, Texas. The company first sergeant for Charlie Company, 2nd Battalion, 54th Infantry Regiment is Jose Alvarez from Bayamon, Puerto Rico. The color sergeant is Staff Sergeant Roberto Sanchez from Long Beach, California. Delta Company, 1st Battalion, 19th Infantry Regiment, is commanded by Captain Michael Meyer from Redmond, New Jersey. The platoon sergeant for 1st Platoon is Senior Drill Sergeant Jeremy Petrobono from San Francisco, California. The platoon sergeant for 2nd Platoon is Senior Drill Sergeant Travis Blades from Woodinville, Washington. The platoon sergeant for 3rd Platoon is Senior Drill Sergeant Dan Rowe from Hartford, Connecticut. The platoon sergeant for 4th Platoon is Drill Sergeant Jonathan Myers from Union, Kentucky. Attached to Delta Company is a platoon from Alpha Company, 1st Battalion, 19th Infantry Regiment, led by Senior Drill Sergeant Krista Zimmerman from Hattiesburg, Mississippi. The 1st Sergeant for Delta Company, 1st Battalion, 19th Infantry Regiment is 1st Sergeant Justin Pilla from Stuart, Florida. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand as the band plays the Army song.